Loneliness doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't knock. It slips in quietly, sometimes through the sound of a ticking clock, the hush of a silent room, or the ache in your chest when you realize no one is coming. Hello, I'm Dr. Charles Milton. Over the last 4 decades, I've sat with countless seniors, men and women who once raised families, ran businesses, cooked holiday meals, and held their loved ones close. But somewhere along the way, the laughter faded, the visits slowed, and the silence grew. And one by one, they whispered to me the same heavy truth. I feel invisible. I feel alone. If you've ever stared out a window hoping someone might call, if you've ever sat down for dinner and heard the sound of only your fork and plate, if your heart has ever ached for a hug, a conversation, or simply a warm hand on yours, then stay with me, because today I'll walk you through something powerful, something to do every single time you feel lonely, something gentle, simple, and shockingly healing. This isn't therapy. This isn't medication. This is something deeper, more human. And by the end of this video, you won't just feel understood. You may discover that loneliness was never here to hurt you, but to guide you back to life. Let's begin. Number 1, understand that feeling lonely doesn't mean you're alone. One of the biggest lies loneliness tells you is, you're the only one who feels this way. But here's the truth. Loneliness is one of the most common human experiences, especially in our later years. Just because you're feeling lonely doesn't mean you're unwanted, unloved, or forgotten. It simply means your soul is reaching out for connection. Let me share the story of Mr. Frederick, a 76-year-old man I met during a community wellness session. He lived alone, no wife, no children nearby. One afternoon, he told me something I'll never forget. I wake up every morning, walk to my kitchen, and say good morning to my refrigerator, because it's the only thing that hasn't left. We both chuckled gently. But then he added, some days I think I'm losing my mind, but maybe I just don't want to feel invisible. Frederick wasn't crazy. He was craving connection, like every human being does. And you know what? Once he admitted that, something shifted. He started going to a local reading group. He brought cookies to his neighbors' kids. Slowly he built tiny moments of connection, and the loneliness began to retreat. So the first thing you must do every time you feel lonely is this. Pause, place your hand over your heart, and say, I feel lonely. That's okay. It means I still need love. I still want life. And that is a beautiful thing. You are not alone in this feeling. And that simple truth, really knowing that, can be the first crack in the wall that loneliness builds. Number 2, use the power of memory, but don't live inside it. When loneliness comes, it often brings memories with it. The voice of a late spouse, the laughter of children who now live far away, the scent of a room that hasn't been filled in years. Memory is powerful, but it can be dangerous too, because sometimes it pulls you into the past and holds you there. Let me tell you about Eleanor. She was 82 and her home was like a shrine. Photos on every wall, her husband's coat still hanging by the door. She told me, even though he'd passed 8 years before, I don't want to move anything, it's all I have left. So I asked her a simple question. What if those memories are asking you to live, not just remember? You see, memory isn't meant to imprison you. It's meant to remind you of what was beautiful, so you can carry that beauty into the present. Instead of just staring at photos, Eleanor began writing letters to her husband. She told him about her day, about the neighbor's dog, about the roses blooming in her garden. But now she was also living. So here's what I ask of you, dear listener. Next time you feel lonely, don't drown in memory. Use it. Take one beautiful memory, maybe of a shared meal, a vacation, or just holding hands, and ask yourself, what did I love about this moment? And how can I bring a little of that feeling into today? If you once cooked together, cook again. With music If you used to sing in the car, hum a tune now. Let memory inspire you, not trap you, because life is still waiting, even if it looks different now. Number 3, create a daily anchor that grounds you. When you feel lonely, your days can start to blend together. Morning fades into afternoon, afternoon into night, and suddenly you're asking, what did I even do today? This is why you need an anchor. A small, meaningful routine that gives shape to your day and reminds you, this is my time, I matter, I am still living. I knew a man named George, 81 years old, who told me, I just sit in my chair and wait for bedtime. That broke my heart. So we created a simple ritual. Every day at 10 a.m. he would sit on his porch, sip tea, and wave at the school bus. After 2 weeks, the kids began waving back. That was it. Then one day the bus driver honked. George beamed like a teenager. That porch ritual, so small, became his anchor. It reminded him that the world still moved, that he could still smile, still be seen. You don't need a complex routine. Just pick one thing. A walk around the block, writing a short poem, calling your niece every Thursday, or feeding birds in your yard. Make it yours, and do it every day. Anchors give structure. Structure brings dignity, and dignity makes the soul feel less alone. Number 4, open the door, even when you don't want to. Loneliness is sneaky. At first it feels like sadness, then it becomes comfort, and before long it becomes routine. One of the hardest things to do when you're lonely is to reach out, because the mind says, what's the point? No one wants to hear from me. I met a lovely woman named Joan, 79, who said, I don't want to bother anyone. So she never called her children, never asked for help, never said she needed company. Until one day her granddaughter came to visit and said something that stunned her. Grandma, I thought you didn't want to talk to us. You never call. Joan realized her silence was being misunderstood. Her loneliness wasn't because no one cared. It was because no one knew. So I'm telling you now that to open the door, reach out. Call someone, write a letter. Say yes when your neighbor invites you over. Don't wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect words. Just do it. Because often, the cure for loneliness isn't found inside your home. It's found the moment you step out of it. Number 5, give something away, even if it's just your time. This may surprise you. One of the fastest ways to dissolve loneliness is to make someone else feel seen. We often think we must receive love to feel full, but the act of giving, especially when we don't feel like we have much, can spark something powerful in us. Take Mr. Leroy, 84 years old. He volunteered 1 hour a week at a local library simply shelving books. He said, I don't do it for the books, I do it for the smiles and the feeling that I'm still useful. That's the secret. You still have value. You still have stories, wisdom, warmth, and someone out there needs it. Give someone a compliment. Share a recipe. Help a neighbor carry groceries. Call someone who's lonelier than you. Because here's what I've seen, again and again. When you give, you don't become emptier. You become richer. And that richness pushes loneliness out. Not all at once, but enough to start healing. Number 6, create conversations with the world around you. There's a beautiful truth I want you to understand. You don't need a person in front of you to have a meaningful conversation. Sometimes the most healing talks are with life itself. Loneliness often convinces us that if no one is calling, visiting, or writing, there's no one to talk to. But here's what I've found with countless seniors. Connection doesn't always have to be verbal or even human. It's about engaging with your surroundings. Let me explain. I once worked with a gentleman named Darius, a 79-year-old veteran. After his wife passed away and his kids moved out of state, he spent most of his days in silence. I don't have anyone to talk to, he told me. I suggested something he hadn't considered. Talk to life, speak to the wind, greet the sun. Thank the tree for giving you shade. He laughed at first. I'm not crazy, Doc, he said. I smiled and said, crazy? No, it's called being present, being alive. Darius began to go on slow walks in the morning. As he walked past flowers, he'd greet them. He started naming the squirrels he saw regularly. He talked to the sky during sunsets. One day, he said, you know what's funny? I feel like I'm being heard, even when no one's around. That's what happens when you choose to live in conversation with the world. Try this. When you sit by the window, speak your thoughts out loud. When you see a bird fly by, say, "Good morning, traveler." When you make tea, thank the kettle. When you water your plants, tell them they're growing beautifully. These moments may feel small, even strange at first, but they pull you back into relationship with the world. And here's the surprising result. You begin to feel less invisible, because the world starts feeling alive again, and so do you. Number 7. Reconnect with the person you were before the world got busy. In the quiet space of later life, when the world slows down and familiar voices grow distant, many seniors begin asking, "Who am I now?" This is especially painful when your identity was once tied to roles you no longer play. A parent whose kids are grown, a spouse whose partner is gone, a worker long retired. But I want you to pause here and remember something important. You weren't born as a mother or father, wife or husband, teacher or nurse. Before you were anything to anyone, you were simply you, and you are still there, beneath the years, beneath the responsibilities. Let me share a story. Agnes, 83, came to me feeling deeply lost. "I used to be someone," she said. "Now I just sit in this chair." So I asked her, "Before the babies came, before the marriage, what made your heart sing?" She blinked, then whispered, "I used to paint. I loved painting flowers and skies." It had been over 50 years since she last held a brush, but together we found her a small watercolor set. That first stroke on paper brought tears to her eyes. "That's me," she said, "that's me again." Reclaiming even a small part of who you were before the world demanded your time can feel like finding a long-lost friend, yourself. So ask yourself, what did I love doing as a child? What brought me joy before life got complicated? What talent or curiosity have I locked away for years? And then, give yourself permission to be that person again. Because even now, especially now, the world still needs you. Not just the roles you played, but the soul you carry. Number 8. Let nature remind you that nothing is ever truly alone. One of the most profound ways to soften the ache of loneliness is to spend time in nature. Not just walking through it, but watching it, learning from it, listening to it. You see, nature has a way of whispering truths that the modern world often forgets. I knew a woman named Clara, 80 years old, who had lost 2 dear friends in the same year. Her words to me were, "Everyone is leaving. I feel like I'm the only one left behind." I asked her if she had a garden or a tree nearby. She said yes, a large oak outside her apartment window. I told her, "Every morning look at that tree. Watch it, really watch it. Let it teach you something." For weeks she did. She watched how the leaves changed color, how birds came and went, how the wind moved its branches, yet the roots stayed firm. Then one day she said, "That tree, it loses things too. It lets go every fall. But it never stops growing, never gives up." Nature teaches us that solitude is not emptiness, it's preparation. The flower blooms alone, but still reaches for the sun. The river flows even when no one watches. The moon shines fully even when the sky is quiet. Try this. Sit in the sunlight and feel it touch your skin. Let it remind you, you are still part of this world. Watch how a bird gathers twigs, creating purpose from fragments. See how the grass rises again after it's been stepped on. When you let nature into your heart, loneliness has less room to grow, because you begin to feel something miraculous, connected, not to a person but to life itself. And that connection, it heals in quiet, holy ways. Number 9. The most important lesson. You are still needed right now. This, dear friend, is the most important part of everything I've shared with you. You are still needed. You are still important. You are still here for a reason. I know the world may not say it enough. I know the calls may not come as often. The visits may be fewer, the chairs at the table more empty. But I need you to hear this, not just in your ears, but deep in your soul. You matter, not because of what you do, Not because of how many people love you, but because you exist. There is someone out there, maybe even someone you haven't met yet, who will be blessed simply by your smile, your wisdom, your story, or your kindness. Let me tell you about Samuel. He was 85, nearly blind, living in a small room in a senior center. He once told me, "I think God forgot to take me." It broke my heart. But one day, a young nurse came in crying. Her mother had just passed. She sat by Samuel's chair and he reached out his hand and said, "Tell me about her, I'll listen." That moment changed everything. He became a gentle ear to the young staff. He'd sit and listen, nod, share a few words. Over time, he became known as the quiet grandfather. His presence, quiet, aging, limited in sight, became a lifeline for others. He once said to me, "Maybe I wasn't forgotten. Maybe I was just waiting for the right person to need me." You too are someone's quiet miracle. You may not know it today, but your patience, your strength, your love, they ripple. So the next time loneliness whispers, "You don't matter," I want you to stand, breathe deeply and say, "I am still here. I still have something to give. And I will not waste this beautiful day of life. Because you, dear one, are not a burden. You are a blessing.